fine. As long as everyone can hear me, I'm fine. Hello everybody. Welcome to 11 Arts' live stream with a contributor to the Cartoon Cipher. Wave. You have to wave. People won't know that you're friendly.
Okay, I'm waving.
Hopefully, I don't think anyone heard that that mic noise, but it's gone now. We're at peace. Everything is great, and we're ready to talk about English dubs of anime. Your favorite subject? Is that fair to say?
Yes, it's definitely one of the most involved subjects I've been involved with, I want to say, in the past 2 or 3 years.
Really? Sorry, I am making sure that everyone's having a fun time. Oh, hello, the JRP pictures, or the JR pictures. Howard?
Yes. He's one of our backers, and member of the Cartoon Cipher Discord.
Awesome. Cool.
Amazing guy that is actually a lot more on top of the news and goings on than me and the rest of the team are sometimes, because there's just so much going on.
Don't sell yourself short. You're on a live stream. You have to only say nice things about yourself.
Oh, that's you didn't tell me that's what I signed up for. I never would have agreed to this if I had to hype myself up live.
Well, hello to everybody tuning in right now. I hope you guys are having fun. This is 11 Arts live stream, and we are talking about English dubs today. We are talking about it with a English dub enthusiastic fan, AJ, a contributor to the Cartoon Cipher, a YouTube channel on YouTube.
That is right. I'm the co-founder of a. I'm not going to call it small, because we got small compared to like really, really big people, but of a channel on the YouTube called the Cartoon Cipher, where we do a handful of different types of videos, but the main ones that we've sort of been known for the past 2.5 years, has been discussing and covering and just kind of myth-bustering a lot of questions and preconceptions about the anime dubbing industry, primarily in the West, although we do dip into what goes on in other parts of the world sometimes as well. And that I am one of the dub guys, so don't ever have a conversation with me.
I wanted to, so we're just going to, essentially, for everyone tuning in, we're still waiting for people to tune in and are joining the chat, joining the YouTube stream. I'm going to give them about 5 minutes to kind of like everyone get settled in. I'm put out the
Is it okay if I share this on my Twitter?
Go crazy. I'll just keep talking while you share it on Twitter. Hi. Oh, there's the chat's popping. Like, what's up, guys? Thank you guys for all commenting. We really appreciate it. Thank you for joining in. I hope you guys all love dubs, because that's what you're going to hear about for the next 40 minutes.
And it's totally fine if you don't. But stick around, maybe you'll learn a few things, because there's a lot of things in even just general stuff in the industry that a lot of people aren't always aware of, even though this information is very publicly available. And kind of going into it for a second, part of the reason why I think some of our videos do so well is because there are a lot of people that do want to know what goes on in this industry, and it's good to have like a small concentrated place that kind of sifts through a lot of the data for you. And we wouldn't be anywhere without those people. So, but it's also nice when there are people that might not care about dubs or think they suck or whatever, but come around and be like, oh, I didn't know that. And even just small things might be enough for you to approach something with a wider lens, more or less. That's all we really want to do.
I definitely think all of, even just the lore itself behind all the cool English dub trivia is a cool thing to, know about and just kind of get into, or at least the culture behind it, because there's so many really cool voice actors for English dubs that are just, really fun to follow on Twitter and to follow, their streams and their original videos, too. It's a really great platform to have really great role models in, the nerd industry to follow, because a lot of people who do English dubs grew up really loving such great media, and it's really cool to have those people like be a part of the media that we're enjoying today, and I really like that. Oh, what? Are you scared I'm gonna out dub fan you? I'm gonna be the new dub guy by the end of this live stream. You, it's it's out of your hands now. Like you just.
Hey, can if you can bear that responsibility, go right ahead. It's like that scene from the Fate Unlimited Blade Works anime where the main character is just looking at all of this death and destruction in front of him and everything is on fire, and somebody says that's hell you're walking into. That's exactly what it does feel like sometimes, because while there are a lot of people that are either neutral or open-minded and willing to learn, there can also be a lot of people that are dead set in their ways with regards to, not even with regards to like, oh, I don't care, I don't want to know, or whatever. That is one thing, but there are people that might take that a step further and believe problematic things about the industry that may or may not be true. And that ends up getting in the way of, I feel like that ends up getting in the way of genuine criticism, because the industry is not perfect. But some people, but we need to be able to understand, we got to understand the stuff it does well, the stuff that it can do better, and the stuff that needs improvement, in order to better understand the stuff that needs improvement on, instead of just generalizing everything under one big umbrella just because it's easy. I'm not saying everybody does this, but I do think that one of the reasons why, because we didn't expect, me and my partner, I run the channel. I'm not the only person who runs the channel. It's run by a team. It's run by me, my partner, Abby, and my girlfriend, me. My girlfriend works on music videos and music analytical content for the channel. And me and my partner, we focus primarily on the bigger, like, dub editorials, what we call them. And we never thought that we would be seen like that by a large part of the community. We were just kind of two guys that are like, hey, let's try to make this YouTube thing work. And we just kept coming up with ideas after ideas after ideas. And then one day about two or 3 years ago, we were we were trying to come up with ideas for another video. And he suggested, hey, why don't we, you said talking to me, you said you wanted to do a video on like the dub of Cowboy Bebop, right? Because even though that's something everybody like kind of agrees upon, it's not really something that people talk about. Why don't we do a video on that? And we did. And then next thing you know, everybody, both in the anime, AniTube community, and even some people in the industry saw that it's like, oh, can you make more of these? Like, no one is talking. Well, there aren't a lot of people that are talking about stuff this way. And I do think there's a lot of merit from having genuine, open-minded discourse, and that's all we want our videos to be. It's not about trying to convert you to the church of anime dubs.
I mean,
it's
the church
about
of anime dubs is a great place to be.
Sometimes,
Well,
I like to think so. Sometimes it's not always, but it is times than I think people give it credit for, and that's just something we want to try to highlight every now and then.
I do want to.
But if you would like to be converted, yes.
Well, I am already the leader of the anime dub church, because we're in this. This is a competition now. However, I have noted that there is now some sort of static. There is a static going on from my my end of the stream, and I am trying to fix it. So that's why I went off screen. So I apologize for that. I can try switching to a different microphone, because I have a backup one. So I'm gonna do that right now. But now that it's exactly like 10 minutes in, do you want to formally introduce yourself for everyone who has joined the stream as our guest on 11 Arts' live stream show? Don't forget. You
sure,
have to wave.
I actually just shared the link.
You have to wave.
Sure, I just shared. Okay, I'm waving. I actually just shared the link now, so maybe more people will join. Once again, to reintroduce myself, hello, my name is AJ. I am a cosplay model, as well as one of the co-founders of a YouTube channel known as the Cartoon Cipher. I run the channel with two other people, my best friend Abby and my girlfriend Me. The latter does analytical music content for the channel, like breaking down soundtracks or specific songs. And the former, my partner, we work together to do large editorial breakdowns, I guess you could say, sometimes on specific shows, like specific dubs of shows, and sometimes on just general questions, misconceptions, basically anime dub myth busting, I guess you could call it. Um, and yeah, we've been doing this for about 3 years now. And we've done pretty okay for ourselves. I think at this time we have about 61,000 subscribers. We have some really great, amazing patrons, some of which are in the chat, some of which are better at fact checking and just finding stuff out than we are. But that's all we really want to do. Our goal is to kind of create a hub that promotes discussion, that promotes just widening the lens at which we view either specific shows or just a whole industry that, for better and for worse, is not perfect, but we want to go into the specifics of why it's not perfect and what genuine good it has done for the community and even for the overall industry moving forward, because sometimes they do feed into each other. And I'm really excited and thankful for you to have me here. It's an honor. What happened?
It's fine. We're all set. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say
Okay.
that again. We are all set because my microphone's working. I changed microphones, but as soon as I changed microphones, all set, guys. As soon as I changed microphones, it disabled one of the microphones, but everyone started commenting that my static was gone as soon as I changed it. So that meant that my microphone should be working now that was previously working, and I made a really bad joke about how we don't have to focus on my voice going into my microphone. And then Eric judged me, like, he judged me, and then I started talking, like, and I made a bad joke about whatever. Let's talk about dubs. I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. I think you're staticky again, according to the chat. I can hear you fine, but I don't know like how it's running through to the stream.
If I fixed it once, I will fix it again. Ooh, that sounds promising. Let's go.
Okay.
Oh, so I'll start then. So I'm gonna ask you.
Yes, you are the host.
you've just been like spouting off like super passionate like monologues about dubs and how we need to talk about dubs more. I just figured like you had like 7 prepared. Anyway, I'm gonna start talking. I'm going to start talking right now, and I'm gonna ask you, what are some cool things you want to talk about in dubbing in 2020? Like, what's going on in the dubbing world, Eric? What can you tell us that's cool to learn about new dubs and everything?
Well, oh god, we can go on for hours about just what's going on in 2020 because yeah, a lot of things are changing. A lot of things I hope for the better, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the dubbing landscape changes moving forward. So if you're watching this in the future, the United States wasn't doing well for a very long time. It still arguably isn't doing great right now, but specifically when COVID-19 hit the United States, and things were really starting to rank up back in like late February, early March. It a lot of things needed to shut down. A lot of people needed to go home, needed to adjust to a different workflow, and the dubbing industry needed to do the same. We did a small video on this, but I can kind of do a sort of beat by beat breakdown of it, where ostensibly a lot of people couldn't, a lot of actors, directors, couldn't go to recording studios anymore, because in some cases like Texas, there was a mandated shutdown, so you literally couldn't. Or if you're in LA, where I don't think there was a full shutdown at first, but even if people wanted to go back to work right away, they couldn't guarantee that when you go in, you have to go into basically a single room that dozens of other people could have been in contact with, and this was before testing was even semi-regular at the time. So a lot of actors and directors did not feel safe going back to work as well. So everything was put on hold. Simuldubs were put on hold. Crunchyroll dubs were put on hold, though the world was kind of at a standstill for a bit. And there was a big question of, well, what's going to happen next? And like with everything, people needed to innovate. So since late March all the way up until now, almost every dub that has come out during that time period, whether it's a film, a Netflix series, or a simuldub, has most likely been recorded from home. People have some studios.
Just to summarize for people tuning in, essentially, we are in a pandemic. We're in a pandemic, and in order to be safe, a lot of people are engaging in social distancing, and we have been doing that for a number of months. So in order to do that, the dubbing industry has had to adapt and find ways to dub from more safe locations. So because of that, many studios have gone forward with dubbing. However, many voice actors have worked from home.
Yes. Well, a lot of actors were already working from home already. Yeah. There were particularly some LA actors that were already working from home. I distinctly remember when I went to AX last year, I attended a Bang Zoom panel where they said, I think JoJo's was airing on Toonami at the time, and I forget which part, but the main character of that JoJo season had been recording everything from home. And so we knew that and a lot of actors, especially those who might do indie work and stuff like that, already had some semblance of a home setup. Because if you're going to apply for a project that's being recorded, say across the world or something, you kind of just need to accept the fact that, okay, I can't reasonably fly to the specific places where these things are being recorded, so let me make sure that my setup is studio quality. But those people were in the minority. There were a lot of high-end actors and voice actors that knew nothing about recording from home either. So they needed to, like everybody else, they needed to adapt. They needed to spend the money. Some people got whisper rooms, which are basically like these small studios that you build in your home. Basically it's a box that you record in. Some people padded out their closets, and some studios like Funimation actually sent out dub kits to a lot of their primary actors and workforce so that they would be able to dub from home. And they even put out a tweet that showed a quick example of it. And I think actually Funimation was one of the first people to get right back into dubbing after the break had happened. They came right back with, because they were almost done with the simuldub from My Hero Academia at the time. And there were some audio issues, very minor ones at first, like peaking and stuff like that. But we've mostly gotten over that hill, and then LA started picking up dubbing again, and Funimation, even now, they're still kind of catching up with their catalogs from previous seasons. And even from an outsider looking in, it hasn't really seemed to slow down Netflix production that much. But hell, we even have major films and super popular shows that have come out in the past couple of weeks, like the Digimon movie just came out the other day. That was completely recorded from home, to my understanding. Um, and even I can't remember if, like the other week, Shirobako, which was a dub that a lot of fans were waiting on, just hit. And I watched the first episode of it the other day, and it's really good. Um, so things have we're still not quite back at that level of normal we were at back in January, but we're slowly getting there, and it's so interesting seeing this innovation now, and I'm very curious to know what will it lead to when this pandemic truly is like a thing of the past, when it's safe to go outside and safe to go back to studios, because innovation, because uh, crises can lead to innovation. And funny enough, the current, I wish it was done under better circumstances, but personally, where we are right now is kind of what I wanted the dubbing industry, like the direction I kind of wanted the dubbing industry to go into. Not quite under these strict circumstances, but we are in this era of innovation, to make sure that actors are still working, to make sure that everyone is safe, and to make sure that we, the fans, still get our products. People have been forced to make creative decisions. People have been forced to cast and think outside the box. And it's led to decisions that has made me think, oh, would that have still happened if things weren't the way that they are? And I like that. Not everything is perfect, but I'd rather see people try new things in hopes of getting to a better industry than just doing the same thing over and over and over again. I think and I was very worried we were going to kind of, some people would argue we already hit that peak. I'd argue we were still not quite there, but we were definitely heading in that direction. Even just the other day, there was Tony Oliver. He's a well-known director in LA. He's the English voice of Lupin the Third. He just did like a Q&A the other day where he didn't say what he was working on, but he said that he was working with a multitude of different actors, one of which was J. Michael Tatum, a Texas actor. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think they've ever worked together before. So I'm like, oh, that's new. I want to see more of that. And I just kind of hope that I don't want us to just go back to the way things were before, basically. Too much time, effort, and energy has been invested in this adjustment. But when the foundation of the industry goes back to normal, I think if we keep a lot of these changes, like recording more people from home, experimenting with mixing, trying out different actors from all over, I definitely don't see how that can lead to a worse industry than what we had before. I could be wrong because hindsight is 2020, but that's kind of where we're at right now. It's very much still a kind of a wait and see type of situation. But if it does lead to any definitive change, I'm 90% sure it'll be changes for the better. Again, I just wish that it didn't take a pandemic for something like this to happen.
It's definitely a crazy time that we've definitely learned a lot about, like, how things can be, how things should be, and everything combined. So definitely, I think that I am looking forward to a lot of what people are creating lately and what they've been trying really hard to bring to us, especially right now. So I think I've been really happy to follow the work of so many really cool and talented voice actors. And for everyone tuning in just now, this is the 11 Arts live stream, and we have AJ, a contributor and co-founder of the Cartoon Cipher, and he is talking about dubs. We're all talking about dubs. Feel free to talk about dubs. Thank you guys for letting us know which anime series, which anime titles you really love and want dubs for and everything like that. We love all feedback, and we're super excited to talk to you guys about dubs, so don't feel... No, other way around. please feel free to comment about, things you like about dubs and your favorite dubs and everything like that. You're here too. We're all having a fun time. So keep having a fun time with us. Keep going. And yes, I'm going through some of the comments, and someone sent us a bird playing the saxophone. I feel like that's a Liz and the Bluebird reference, or just a really cool bird. Either way, I'm happy to see it, so shout out.
It is a cool bird.
I can't play saxophone. That bird is cooler than me.
Neither can I. I can barely play any instrument, and the most I can probably do is sing. But I will not subjugate you all to that at this juncture. Actually, yeah, speaking of Liz and the Bluebird, you guys have handled 11, been a big fan of 11 Arts, and just kind of a lot of the stuff that they have brought to the United States, because while you guys don't have a big library of shows that you've officially licensed, you've contributed, you've helped a lot of major anime films in the past couple of years kind of helped gain a lot of exposure back when going to movie theaters was still a thing. In fact, I think...
Or can I say a word? Will
no,
that
go ahead.
throw off your train of thought? For a long time, unbiasedly, I've always considered Silent Voice to be one of my favorite dubbed anime movies, and I really liked Robbie Damon's portrayal of Shoya, and he's really enthusiastic about he really advocated for that role. Like, is champion the right word? He was very enthusiastic about having that role and being Shoya, essentially, for such a long time. So I think it's really cool, and he did a great job. But also, there's another point that you were going to make that we talked about. Was this your transition?
Yeah, we can talk about this because, Silent Voice was one of the first major films that you guys theatrically released. It took a while to come to the United States, but the studio that handled that, I think they've handled at least a third or half of the dubs for the films that you guys have officially licensed, was NYV Post. And guys, if you haven't seen A Silent Voice, it is probably one of my favorite animated films, not just anime films, favorite animated films of all time. It's like a very difficult movie to watch in all the best ways. And the dub is phenomenal because, and I'm not saying it's phenomenal because of this, but it kind of goes to the credit of the studio that you guys hired to work on it. And that's NYV Post. Because not only did Robbie do an amazing job, he's usually such a big ball of energy, both on social media and in some of his more well-known roles, that hearing him play something so quiet and timid and nervous was great. It really was a great opportunity for him to show off his range, because he's an amazing actor. But another thing that we don't often get to see is, for those who don't know, this is a film that is kind of centered around a deaf character. And something that NYV Post, specifically Stephanie Shea, who is the casting director, did was she went out of her way to find a deaf actress to play Shoko in the film, the main character in the film. And I don't think that's ever been done before. It definitely hasn't been done again since. And it definitely sounds different compared to the Japanese, but personally I think it did add, I know why it was done. It did add that extra layer of credence and authenticity to the film, to a film that was kind of about the deaf experience. Like, I think if you know somebody who is deaf, or especially if they're a child, and you watch this film, you'll get maybe an idea of some of the difficult things that they and the people around them have had to go through. And NYV Post has always been good with stuff like that. They've always, when they're given the time, in fact, on record, I actually think that NYV Post, first off, is a studio that not enough people know about.
Wait, sorry. Hold
Um,
your thought only because you can continue that
Go
thought.
ahead.
I just don't want to go
Yep.
too far to mention this. The actress who did play Shoko is named Lexi Cowden, Cowden, and she did a really amazing performance, and it was really moving, and it was one of my favorites. So I definitely think she deserves like props for that.
No, she deserves all the praise, and it would be great if there would be more opportunities for her to voice in stuff. And I can understand how difficult it, you just say it out loud. A deaf actress voice acting, that on its face sounds so difficult. But I think it says so much to the talent of her, the talent of the directors, and even the film itself, that you were still able to hear her voice like have so much prominence and beauty in that film. I wish there were more films on stuff like that, on heavy stuff like that, so we could get more opportunities for people like that to appear in anime in general, or in voiceover in general. But
Yeah, I really think Lexi's performance was very memorable, and I think she just did an amazing job. I like the passion and everything, and like the, I guess, no hesitancy in showing every emotion, like pain, vulnerability, hope, everything like that. I definitely, it's hard to forget. I think no matter what, like it was an amazing piece.
yeah, and someone in the comments brought up, there was an anime from a couple of years back called Gangsta, Gansta. It was
What were you saying? We can. I don't want to say anything about like any other anime, but if you want to talk about like recording studios or anything like that, I think that would be a great way to go.
right. No, I just wanted to bring up this point real quick, because that's probably the only other anime I can think of that did have a deaf character in it, and in both the English and Japanese version, they were not played by deaf people. But so it's refreshing that not only did we have another film with a deaf main character, like another anime with a deaf main character, but this time we actually got to hear a deaf actress portray her in such an authentic way. And like I was saying about the studio, that really does pay. I'm not surprised, considering that NYV Post worked on it. They are hands down one of my favorite dubbing studios. To this day, I think they're kind of the gold standard that I want the rest of the industry to follow, because they work, as far as I can tell, on almost all their projects. They work exclusively with the Japanese side. For context, everybody, they've also done major anime blockbusters and popular series. Just this past season, they did The Great Pretender, and they did Promare. They did what was that other film? What was the other film by Makoto Shinkai? It came out around the same time as A Silent Voice.
No,
No,
the Kimi no Na
Your
wa.
Name. Yes, they did Your Name as well.
I want to say that like probably the two movies that have made me cry the most overall in my life are A Silent Voice and Makia, and I did watch the dub for both of those, and I really like the job that they did with both of their series, because they're both two of the most emotional anime titles for anime films I've ever seen in my life. So the fact that they did such a good job with like the direction and just the nuances of voice acting is really cool.
I agree. I haven't had the chance to watch
Makia.
yeah, sorry. I haven't had the chance to watch Makia yet. But I have heard nothing but good things about the film and its dub. I do know that NYV Post also worked on that as well. And as far as like why I like them, they kind of go really hard on all of their products. Like, in the amount, it's not perfect all the time. I think back to like Your Name, where that dub turned out pretty good, and they had to basically write the scripts, cast, and record that whole thing in like a month's time. But when they're given the time, and when they're given feedback, and they really have the ability to go hard, they go hard. And their dubs are some of the best that the industry has to offer, and it sucks that so many people aren't talking more about them because, and I do have a theory on that, which I'll get to in a second. I want to get into like why they're so good, because they they always try to do is open casting as much as possible. They run actors with the Japanese clients as much as possible. They worked with Trigger directly when it came to casting for like Promare, for example. They have two branches, one in LA, one in New York, so they can basically cast people all over. They don't always have to worry about like child labor laws and union rates. They pay their actors extremely well. They pay all of their staff extremely well. And whenever they get the chance, they will try to go for it as an authentic experience as they possibly can. I brought up Your Name, finding a deaf actress. They found a trans actress to play one of the main characters in Tokyo Godfathers.
Or written.
Yep.
I know.
It was directed by Satoshi Kon. I don't know if he wrote it. They also handled the dub for Cannon Busters, which was one of the first anime, I think, that was produced by a black artist. And you look at that, and it's probably the most, for lack of a better word, the most colorful cast I've ever seen for an anime dub in a while. That probably period. Where we're seeing more pushes for diversity and authenticity in dubs, so that could change, and I hope it does change. But they really do know how to set a standard that when nobody else does, and that isn't to say. And there are people I've spoken with in the industry,
but like.
No, I was going to say, like, I'm not saying that, like, other studios are doing a bad job or anything. Not at all. Like, you can definitely sing the praises of one studio without denouncing another.
But it's really cool that they've accomplished this specific goal and this specific response to the requests of people from certain groups that are not normally represented in different media.
Right. It's like they try to take absolutely everything into consideration. And there are a lot of individuals and smaller studios that also carry that with them. Sound Cadence Studios is a small recording studio out in Texas, and they are the ones who did the Kimono Friends dub, which is really good. I highly recommend watching it. But they also go above and beyond as far as casting, as far as keeping consistent actor lists, trying to make sure that region isn't a deterring factor in getting the best person they possibly can find for each role. And studios like them and NYV Post, they kind of set this gold standard for me personally, where I'm like, I wish more studios could do that, and I kind of get why they can't do that all the time. I know there are individuals that are trying, and some of which are even succeeding because maybe they have that power, because they have that time. But as far as studio standards go, it's not nearly as consistent as what is put out by others. And it's ironic because the studios that I might be talking about, like, say, Funimation, for example, whenever people think anime dubbing, they always think Funimation, or even more recently, Crunchyroll. They're not thinking about NYV Post or even Sentai Filmworks. They're not thinking about NYV Post. Sometimes they're not thinking about Bang Zoom or VSI or Spliced Bread or Studiopolis. All of these major recording studios that may or may not have contributed to some of your favorite anime or video games.
Shout out to you, major recording studios. We love you.
They do so much, and that is one thing I am kind of disappointed about as far as how fans interact with anime dubs. Is it's very easy to kind of categorize everything under like one umbrella. Like, oh, I don't like, this is a hyperbolic example, but like, oh, I don't like the dub for Demon Slayers or something. I wish Funimation did a better job, because that might be the only name that comes to mind when it comes to anime dubs. On the one hand, it makes sense. They are literally the face of anime dubbing here in the West. They are the biggest anime dub they're the biggest anime distributor here in the West. They have their own in-house studio, so almost everything, like 95% of the stuff they get, they will record in-house. Sometimes they'll outsource it, and I feel like they've been doing that a bit more recently. But mostly everything will be done in-house. Well, it's not being done now because everyone is recording things at home. But they'll think of that, and they'll think that, oh, a company also handles the dub. So they'll think, oh, Viz Media handled the dub for Naruto. Like, no, Viz Media hired a recording studio to handle the dub for Naruto. They hired a recording studio to handle the dub for Sailor Moon or Hunter x Hunter.
We should just use like The Life of Shelby as an example of an anime instead. I don't want to throw these anime titles under the bus or anything.
No, I'm not throwing them under the bus. It's more so as like an example of this is what a lot of people think, because there's still this idea that we lump recording studios and licensors together. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of studios that are making all of these strides and doing all this good work kind of get overlooked. Like I even just mentioned before, The Great Pretender was a Netflix anime that came out a few weeks ago, and that was a great dub. It was a bilingual dub, which is extremely rare. Like you have the actors speaking in different languages in the dub. And that was something that the show specifically called for. That was even something that they tried to do in the Japanese version. But if people like that dub, I feel like they'll sooner go, oh, that's a great Netflix dub. They won't say, oh, I love what NYAV Post did for this dub. Unless you already follow the Stephanie Shea or the people who might have already worked on the show. And I wish that would change. Because they definitely, I'm not trying to throw shows under the bus. It's more so, I wish that the people that did the good work on these shows got the more specific credit that they deserve.
Yeah.
No, it kind of reminds.
You've made it very clear that like you don't think that like any show should be thrown on the bus, and you respect like the whole dubbing thing and all the voice actors and everything. I'm just adding that for like, yes, just for additional like in super plain words, like layman's terms, you are not judging anybody. Everyone's cool, yay. So it's just more.
No, I'm not judging any. I'm not judging anybody or anything.
I'm just adding like the citation, I guess, if that makes sense. I'm not accusing you of judging anybody.
No. It's fine. It's just easy to. Nowadays, I feel like it's very easy for people to take. Like, oh, you're praising this. That means you're denouncing this. No, I'm not doing that at all. The industry. There are some things that are consistent throughout the entire industry. But I don't think it's always good to put the whole industry under an umbrella. Because if you do have a problem with an anime dub, it might be something that's only a byproduct of that specific studio, or that specific, not even that specific studio, that specific person that is working on the show. And I don't think we talk about that enough. I don't think we talk about things on the individual level enough, because it goes both ways. That way it's easier to criticize a specific person whose style you might not agree with than it is just to say, oh, I hate that insert studio's name here or insert company's name here did this. I'm like, well, it might not have been like, you could argue it's their responsibility, but I don't necessarily think the company itself made that specific decision. An individual probably made that specific decision. And vice versa, if a dub turns out really good, let's talk about the people that made it really good and build them up and get them more work.
Yeah.
So they can keep doing the thing that they're doing. That's the main thing that I want, because I don't think the industry itself can truly change and grow unless we're willing to actually pinpoint the stuff that's worth celebrating and we want to see more of, and the stuff that we may have questions about, and we can discuss about whether or not it's it has a place in anime dubs or this specific show. And again, that coming full circle, that's kind of what we want our channel to kind of be about, where it's like, hey, here are some of the reasons why people might be, why script changes might happen. Hey, this is part of the reason why edits might need to be done. This is part of the reason why you hear X, Y, and Z voice actors in these shows. I'm generalizing, of course, but like that's the big general questions that people might bring up as talking points now and again. Keep bringing them up, sure. I just personally, and I think I can speak for the channel, we just want to make sure people are armed with as much information as they can be, so they can really have those conversations.
Definitely. That's a really good point, that we should like focus a lot on that and support people who do that. So I definitely agree with you. So I guess you win title of, what was it? I forget. It's been like 40 minutes. So it's like Dub Master? Or is that what we're fighting over?
No, what was it?
Master of Dub.
You can take the title of Dub Master. I do not want to be the Dub Master.
Guy. I'm the Dub Guy. No, you're the Dub Guy. You've earned being the Dub Guy. You've advocated
sure.
for the whole ecosystem of dubbing, and you've taught us so much. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Sure, I'll be the Dub Guy. Like, I'll be the one inconsequential guy that just won't shut up about anime dubs. Because that's all I am on the internet. I'm just one guy.
You have a lot of hats,
that
for sure.
Is...
You have a lot of hats, like a lot of different talents.
I do have a lot of hats, and I worry it's going to give me like an ulcer one of these days, because I just can't stop doing things. Job, cosplay, editing, writing, whole bunch of hats. I just hope I don't get crushed under the weight of them. I need my girlfriend every now and then to like hit me upside the head and force me to sit down and be like, you're gonna sit here, you're gonna relax, and you're gonna like it.
Okay, so we only have about 7 minutes left, so quickly shout out your girlfriend again, but also we're gonna go through a couple things that I want to talk about before this is over, because we only have 7 minutes left. But yeah, shout her out. Go.
Yeah, no, shout out my girlfriend Miguo, Miguo. You can find like her cosplays and stuff. She's in the chat.
Thanks
if you look back enough.
My microphone quality.
Shout out to my best friend Abby, who our videos wouldn't be half as good if it wasn't for them. Shout out to Marissa Lenti, Clifford Chapin, Howard Wang, all the people that we've had the chance to talk to and work with who have helped make our videos as good as they have. And just thank you guys out there that are watching this, who have already checked out the channel, who are supporting us on Patreon, or even just the people that are willing to listen and willing to approach things with an open mind and be like, oh, I didn't know that. And take that information as you will. That's literally all I ask. That's literally all I can ask. But yes, I'm very sorry I pretty much rambled for the past half hour.
You spoke the voice of the dub man, the dub guy. This is your sermon, so we have to know more about the word of the dub man. However, I'm gonna rapid fire a few things. Also, I apologize for never knowing how to cheer correctly with my hands, but I've settled on thumbs up, so we're gonna keep it at that for the rest of the stream.
Okay.
Satoshi.
Shoot.
Kon. He did write Tokyo Godfathers as well as directed, but he also wrote and directed Millennium Actress, which received a dub in 2019, which received an official North American dub during its re-release in 2019, and it came out in 2003. So if you guys want a dub of something, definitely like hold on to that hope and like keep talking about it, keep talking about the possibility of it and everything like that. And then yeah, it's never too late for a dub to exist or exist again, because like I know a lot have been like redubbed or given another dub in a different language. You're gonna get that dub someday, so I believe in you guys.
Yeah, and honestly, to kind of touch upon that real quick, the redub you guys did of a Millennium Actress is great. It gave the release. There were so many people I know that went to the release and who've sung the dub's praises up and down. You've definitely, especially considering that Millennium Actress did have a dub before and it just wasn't really that good. But it's good that
your opinion of yourself in your own entity, by
Yes,
the way, my
yes,
disclaimer.
yes. No, of course. Personally, I'm glad you guys were able to give the film a dub that 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 did it justice, more or less. That did this property of Khan, God rest his soul, justice. And you guys have done that for. You guys have helped bring a lot of great dubs to the big screen for people and helped giving them the exposure that they deserved. And I hope you guys will continue to put out such amazing work moving forward.
Thank you. Well, I can't say thank you, but I assume that a thank you would be given in return.
I hope so.
But yeah, and then are there any cool voice actors you think people should pay more attention to? Up and coming voice actors, or just old favorites that you want to shout out?
Well, I will never stop singing the praises of my friend Marissa Lenti. She's an amazing actress with an amazing range. She also wears a lot of hats. She's a great actress, casting director, ADR writer, ADR director, and she talking with her, I can tell that there's a lot of talking with her and her team at Sound Cadence, there's a lot of passion there just to kind of try to make products come out as best as they possibly can. Shout out to a lot of people at Funimation, like Caitlin Glass, Clifford Chapin, that also always try to go above and beyond. Like, there are so many individuals that go above and beyond to make sure that they are doing the best they possibly can for the product. I can't sit here and shout out one specific person. And I've already tried to thank everybody that has helped us or has faith in us that we're doing some kind of good for the industry. I still need to be reminded of that occasionally, but the most I can do is say just pay attention, read credits. If you like a dub, take a second to go to Anime News Network or Behind the Voice Actor or IMDb and be like, who was that person, or who wrote this, who directed this, and thank them, because that can go a long way. And the industry, like I keep saying, the industry is not perfect. I could also spend another hour going over things that also need to change, but I kind of want this live stream to be a positive thing for everybody. So I'll just kind of leave it there, but pay attention to the people that are actually doing good work and build them up, because I guarantee you that they are the ones that are going to make the industry better moving forward. And I get it, sometimes it feels like there's only so much that fans can do, but sometimes just shouting out the new actors that appear, like Anadis Quinones or Kiba Walker, Zeno Robinson, all these actors that have just kind of been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes or have started appearing more and more in the spotlight. Keep shouting them out, keep checking out their work, because then casting directors, producers, companies will look at that and be like, oh, we need more people like this in our shows. And yeah, even if you don't like, I will never sit here and be like, you better appreciate dubs. You don't have to.
You better appreciate dubs. That's my only hot take I'm allowed for this entire hour.
Okay, deal. Because there are bad dubs out there, and
I've never seen one. And keep going. We're wrapping up.
And there'll always be preferences with regards to how you want to consume your media. But if you're the least bit curious or the least bit if you're the least bit curious or the least bit open-minded about what goes on in the industry, check out our videos or just talk to people. Look on Twitter, see what's out there, because I guarantee you there's way more than just the handful of good or the handful of bad examples you might be exposed to. There's a whole here's kind of how I look at it. And you could look at this in a good or bad way. And I mean, you could look at this from both sides. If you see 30 seconds, okay. I can't break down the whole analogy like that. I'll just do it real quick. You wouldn't judge the entire anime industry by one good or one bad show. Don't judge the entire dubbing industry by one good or one bad dub. that's all I'll leave the podcast
There
on.
was no bad dubs in my eyes. Anyway, so thank you so much for being on the live stream show. Thank you so much for talking with me and sharing all your knowledge about being the dub guy and existing to serve dubs in your plane of existence and teaching us everything. Thank you so much. We can follow you. You follow your YouTube channel, The Cartoon Cipher, on YouTube, and you also have a Twitter account. You can follow
Yes.
11 Arts on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yes, follow us right now. Please comment with any of your favorite dubs, any of your favorite voice actors, anyone you want to shout out. The comment section will still be here, but we will not be. So thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate all the comments you gave us and all the interactions you had in the comment section. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you so much. Yay!
Pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
guys. Watch everything else we make in the future. Not to get like just in general. Just watch everything anyone else makes forever. Bye. We're stopping now. Goodbye. End stream. End stream. End stream. Hold on. Let me just.